Sinister stories.
In the heart of the bustling city, nestled between towering skyscrapers, stood a modest apartment building. Its brick facade bore the scars of decades gone by, each crack and stain a testament to the passage of time. Amid the chaotic rhythm of urban life, one teenager named Ethan had spent his entire life in the same apartment on the 5th floor. Since childhood, an unspoken terror gripped Ethan whenever he approached the building's basement. The mere thought of descending the creaky stairs into the dimly lit abyss sent shivers down his spine, an inexplicable fear that clung to him like a ghost, haunting his every step. His parents dismissed his anxiety as childish imagination, attributing it to spooky tales told by friends or late-night horror movies. But for Ethan, the basement held a mysterious power that defied explanation. He avoided it at all costs, preferring the safety of his well-lit apartment to the shadows that lurked below. As Ethan grew older, his fear became a source of amusement for some of the other teenagers in the building. A trio of mischievous peers, Jake, Lily, and Max, took delight in teasing him about his irrational dread of the basement. The boys mockingly referred to him as Baby Ethan, amplifying his unease. Not Lily, though. She was always so sweet and bore an enchanting smile. Ethan had been in love with Lily since he proposed to her when they were 5. He still sits up at night wondering if she remembers. One evening, the group gathered in the building's communal area, where the talk inevitably turned to Ethan's inexplicable fear. Laughter echoed through the hallways as they goaded him, challenging him to face the basement and prove that his fears were unfounded. Determined to silence their taunts, Ethan reluctantly agreed to a dare that would force him to confront the source of his dread, mostly because he wanted to impress Lily. What a man will do for love, he wondered. As midnight approached, the group assembled outside the basement door, the dim light flickering above casting eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The trio exchanged smirks, thinking they had uncovered Ethan's weakness. Pushing open the heavy door, they descended into the darkness, leaving Ethan standing alone in the hallway. A chilling draft enveloped him as he hesitated on the threshold, the oppressive weight of the unknown pressing down on him. Summoning every ounce of courage, Ethan took a deep breath and descended the creaking stairs. The cold air grew thicker with each step, and the distant hum of the city above faded into an unsettling silence. His flashlight trembled in his grasp, casting erratic beams into the blackness. As Ethan continued strolling carefully, he was met with a scene that defied logic. The space appeared to stretch far beyond the dimensions of the building above, labyrinthine corridors branching off into darkness. Forgotten relics of the building's history lay scattered, covered in a layer of dust that seemed untouched by time. Unnerved but determined, Ethan ventured deeper into the subterranean maze, the walls seemingly closing in around him. The distant whispers of the trio's laughter echoed through the passages, guiding his way back when needed. The basement, once a feared enigma, now revealed a hidden world beneath the surface. As Ethan navigated the eerie labyrinth, he stumbled upon a series of rusted metal doors. The air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding, and the distant laughter transformed into ghostly wails that seemed to resonate from the very walls. As Ethan explored the depths of the basement, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. He encountered objects of long-forgotten residents of the building who had since passed. As Ethan's fingers brushed against the ancient artifact, a surge of dark energy enveloped him. The basement, once a dimly lit chamber, transformed into a pulsating portal that transported him across the threshold of time. He found himself standing in the same building, but the surroundings had morphed into a bygone era. The walls whispered stories of a time long before his birth. The building stood as a witness to decades of history, its bricks holding secrets that unfolded like the pages of a ghostly chronicle. Ethan, now an unwitting time traveler, navigated the past within the familiar confines of his present-day home. The first artifact he touched led him to a time when the building housed a vibrant community of artists and intellectuals. The walls echoed with lively conversations and the melodies of pianos playing showtimes. Residents dressed in elegant attire filled the hallways, discussing philosophy and sharing dreams of a brighter future. Ethan witnessed lovers stealing secret kisses in hidden corners and children playing with long-forgotten toys. Each artifact he encountered opened a window to a different chapter in the building's history. It was as if the basement harbored the collective memories of those who had called the place home. The second artifact transported Ethan to an era of economic suffering, where the building served as a refuge for families seeking shelter during the Great Depression. Desperation and resilience coexisted in the narrow corridors, as residents shared meager resources and found solace in each other's company. He witnessed communal meals, makeshift classrooms, and the forging of unbreakable bonds among those who weathered the storm together. The building, a silent witness to struggle and survival, held within its walls the echoes of hope that had persevered against the odds. As Ethan continued his journey through time, the artifacts revealed more layers of the building's past. Each touch allowed him to experience the joys and sorrows of those who had come before. The third artifact opened a portal to a post-war era, where soldiers returning from battle sought normalcy within the familiar walls. He witnessed celebrations of victory, tearful reunions, and the birth of new beginnings. The building, a haven for those scarred by war, stood as a silent guardian of stories untold. Ethan's presence resonated through these moments, his existence intertwined with the essence of the building itself. Ethan, now immersed in the struggles of the past, felt the weight of collective memories shaping his identity, the tears dripping down his face as real-life struggles and emotions surrounded him. The building, a silent witness to the flow of time, held within its walls the echoes of revolutions and the dreams of those who had dared to challenge the status quo. With each artifact touched, Ethan's understanding of the building's history deepened. The fabric of time wove itself around him, and he became a living conduit between past and present. When Ethan returned to the present, he just crumbled to the floor, holding his face while the tears and emotions flowed down his face. Everything he saw was just weights accumulating on his shoulders. When he finally looked up, he saw a shadowy figure in distance wearing a black hood and cap. Ethan blinked a few times and squeezed his eyes to try and decipher what was ahead of him. The stranger in a loud voice urged Ethan to leave and never to come back down here. He started running, so Ethan quickly arose and started running into the darkness. Ethan's breaths came in ragged gasps as he sprinted through the winding corridors of the basement, the hooded stranger pursuing him relentlessly. The basement's artifacts seemed to flicker in his peripheral vision, calling to him to further explore the past and the unknown. His heart pounded in his chest, and the oppressive darkness seemed to close in around him. The other teenagers were waiting impatiently, so Lily insisted they go look for Ethan. The hooded figure's footsteps echoed menacingly through the labyrinth, each step sending shivers down Ethan's spine. The trio's flashlights bobbed in the distance as they desperately tried to find Ethan and escape their basement eerie presence. The building, once a familiar haven, now became a maze of shadows and secrets. The trio, now closing in on Ethan, witnessed the unfolding chase and the mysterious figure in pursuit. Fear etched across their faces. They knew the basement held more secrets than they had ever fathomed. Lily's eyes widened with fear. With a surge of determination, Ethan found himself once again in the bygone eras of the building's history after touching an old rocking chair, his surroundings shifting like a kaleidoscope of memories. The basement, now a surreal tapestry of past and present, offered him a temporary reprieve from the hooded pursuer. Back in the present, the trio exchanged bewildered glances, their flashlights casting long shadows on the walls. The hooded stranger, thwarted in his pursuit, turned his attention to them. His ominous presence loomed as he advanced slowly, an unseen force at play. As Lily, Jake, and Max faced the hooded figure, a realization dawned upon them. The basement held more than just the echoes of history. It harbored a dark secret embodied in this hooded figure. With a menacing voice, the hooded stranger yelled at the teens to, "Get out of here! Never come back here again!" The trio, shaken but determined, turned and sprinted through the maze-like corridors, the hooded figure's chilling warnings echoing in their ears. As they ran, Ethan, still caught in the temporal current, witnessed glimpses of the building's past intertwining with the present in a surreal dance. Their desperate footsteps reverberated through the basement as the hooded figure pursued them with an otherworldly persistence. Max, the last in line, stumbled on an uneven floorboard and crashed to the ground. Without hesitation, Ethan halted and rushed to Max's side, offering a steadying hand. In that moment of compassion, the hooded figure also came to a sudden stop. As the trio looked on in confusion, The figure reached into the folds of its cloak and tossed a shirt toward Ethan. The fabric sailed through the air, landing at his feet. With Max back on his feet, the trio resumed their escape, pushing through the basement door and emerging into the scent of freedom. They sprinted through the building's corridors, the distant wails of the hooded figure echoing behind them. As the trio gathered at Ethan's apartment, he hesitated before opening the shirt. The room fell into a hushed silence as the fabric unfolded, revealing the aged, worn version of the shirt he was currently wearing. The realization struck like a revelation, and Ethan's eyes widened in a mix of awe and confusion. "I've been here before," he murmured, his voice barely audible. The room filled with a heavy silence as the teens exchanged perplexed glances. Lily, Max, and Jake struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation, their minds wrestling with the inexplicable events that had unfolded in the basement. Ethan's hands trembled as he clutched the aged shirt, a tangible link between the past and the present. The basement, once a place of fear and mystery, now held the keys to Ethan's future. "The past can open more doors to destroy the future," Ethan whispered, the weight of the realization settling upon him. The hooded figure was him, and if he went through all that to warn himself, then the treasures the basement offers should be avoided. The basement, with its enigmatic artifacts and the hooded figure's spectral presence, had become a temporal minefield. The trio, still grappling with the surreal nature of their ordeal, listened intently as Ethan recounted his journey through time.